are these virtual memory hacks worth it? Right? Most of the use cases we looked at could have been handled just by adding additional instructions, additional software instead. So is it worth it? Well, one pro, so it avoids complex either compiler or interpreter changes. Things like every time you access an object, make sure it has been scanned. And one other advantage, right, is that the CPU has the specialized and optimized logic. Just for the VM operations. Cons we have. One con is it requires the right OS support. So if we don't have the right operating system support, then the overhead of that operating system can just squander any benefits that we might have had. As well, the paging hardware just may not map well to our problem domain, right? If our pages are extremely large, we may find lots of overhead in dealing with that. We prefer perhaps smaller pages that can have fewer numbers of, let's say, objects on the page and so on. So it just depends on what our problem domain is. These virtual memory primitives are what we see now. They're useful not just for operating systems, but actually useful for applications. But a lot of kernels can't expose that raw performance because they've got too much abstraction, right? JOS is an exception, and that JOS has a much lower level abstraction, so it's much easier for it to provide these raw performance because its abstraction is close to the same level that the hardware is providing. And in fact, that's going to be true of something we see later, which is exokernels, where exokernels, the idea is really don't provide too much abstraction. Instead, provide something that's much closer to what the hardware supports and just let user-level programs deal with that. Just do the minimum you absolutely have to in terms of the operating system.